Great, so let's have a look. We are going to create a provisional cast on. You always need some waste yarn. Choose something a completely different colour so you don't get confused. The waste yarn will be thrown away afterwards. It doesn't matter what you use. The working yarn we're doing in off-white, waste yarn is in the dark grey brown. So what we're doing here is we're going to create a simple knot, any knot you like, at the start. Then we're going to hold that the end of the yarn in, well, in my case, my right hand. It does depend if you're left or right-handed, but the one you're going to hold your needle in. And then we're going to create a V. The waste yarn will be at the top and the working yarn at the bottom. So remember, my working yarn is the white. We're going to go under the working yarn. Then we go over the waste yarn and under them both, back to the middle, and pull the waste yarn over. Under, over the waste yarn, under them both, back to the middle, and go under the waste yarn. Under the working yarn, over the waste yarn, under them both, back to the middle, and under the waste yarn. Under, over, under, back to the middle, under the waist. And this keeps you just, what you do need to be careful of is it's quite easy to unravel because it's so easy to knit, you could unravel it. So just hold it whilst you're doing it and knit a few more stitches than you're likely to need. We're going to go under, back to the middle, under the waist. Back to the middle, under, over, under, back to the middle, under the waist. Under, over the waist, under, back to the middle, under the waist. Under, over, under, back to the middle, under the waist. So we have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, perfect. Okay, so now hold both of these ends just to keep them from unraveling. And we are going to take our second needle and we're going to knit our first row. So our first row, keep that twisted round, and then we are going to go one. So I'm going to knit one row like this, and then I'm going to purl the next row and knit the next. So I'm going to do, this is row 1. So we've got our first row of cast on stitches. That doesn't count as row 1. We're now knitting row 1. I am going to stocking stitch 4 rows, which is knit 1 row, purl 1 row, knit 1 row, purl 1 row. Now I've got to 12 stitches, which is all I need. So I'm going to turn and hold on to my waste yarn here. It's always good to create more stitches than you need for the waist because you just drop them off when you're ready. Now we're going to do the next 3 rows, which are as normal. Okay, so now we're ready to do, we've done 4 rows plus the live row at the start, but 4 rows. We can ignore our waste yarn now. If you're worried about it coming loose, because you'll see this is going to come off very easily, we've got a knot at this end, so that's okay. If you're worried about this end coming loose, you could just do a little knot and then just cut that off at the end when you're ready to go, when we are ready to go live. So we are going to do the picot edge now. We've done our 4 rows, and so we just ignore the waste yarn now. It's not important at this stage. So the picot edge is, I think it creates a beautiful edge, and it is very, very straightforward. So we're now to do this picot edge, which will only look like picot once we've folded it over. So you'll have to bear with me for a few rows. Knit 1, yarn over. Then we're going to knit 2 together and yarn over. So what we're doing is creating a stitch with a yarn over, and then we're decreasing a stitch by knitting 2 together. Yarn over, knit 2 together. So you will have the same number of stitches that you started with. Yarn over, which will be whatever your pattern tells you to do. Yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. So we've got 1 stitch left at the end, which after we've knitted 2 together, we just knit this stitch. So that is our picot row. What we do next is we are going to knit another 4 rows, as in knit purl, knit purl, knit purl, knit purl.